4 years ago, I met my best friend in a situation that most would have called embarrassing, but I thought it was the best thing that could have ever happened to
4
me.
years ago, when I was walking to school, I never would have guessed that I was going to run into somebody that was going to change my life.
I took a corner a little too fast and got stuck in a snowbank, but Cole so happened to be walking down the sidewalk coming directly towards me.
When I was in college, I didn't want to buy a parking pass, so I walked every day. And on the route I usually take, one day after we got like this much snow, here at the end of the street is this minivan that was stuck.
When he got up to the van, I remember he knocked on the window and he was like, "Do you need any help?" And I was like, yes I do. And he pushed me right out and I was so grateful. Honestly, I couldn't believe that he got me out because it was a pretty big van. Like, I was driving a van at the time, so it was a lot to push, but he did it.
As I see this minivan stuck on the side of the road early in the morning, I was for sure thinking it was a soccer mom with like 4 kids in the back, probably all screaming, and honestly, I was just gonna want to push them out so I didn't have to listen to all the screaming as long. And so I got up there and I'm just incredibly strong, so it was nothing for me just to, have Nave turn the wheels the other way and back right out.
He asked me for a ride to class. I was so nervous. I think I asked him the same question twice in a row, like within a few seconds of each other. I was nervous.
After I pushed Nave out, I was like, well, we're still like halfway to campus. Are you going to campus? And she said yes. And so I just asked for a ride. And on the way there, she's like, "So, how are you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm good. And, it's a nice, beautiful day today." And I'm sitting there for a second. And then she goes, "So, how are you?" And I looked at her and I was like, "Didn't you just ask that?"
At the end of the day, I was getting in my car, getting ready to leave campus when I noticed he sent me an Instagram message. And so I read it and he sent me his number and he said, "Just in case you get stuck again." And I thought it was so smooth at the time, and honestly I thought it was kind of cute.
I got dropped off for my classes. I went in and I was a little bored in class, so I had nothing better to do other than think about what just happened. And I kind of thought, I wouldn't mind talking to her again. I kind of enjoyed that interaction. So I used my detective skills and I found her on Instagram and I sent her my phone number, and I thought it was a pretty good mask to hide it behind. Hey, if you get stuck again later and need help, just give me a call.
After sharing a few texts back and forth, he asked if I wanted to hang out, and I was pretty hesitant because I didn't really know him, so I kind of just politely declined. We tried a few more times to hang out, and again I was still hesitant, and so I kept making up excuses as to why I couldn't. Finally, I was just like, "You know what, why don't you come to my campus ministry?" And he ended up coming, and I was really surprised about it, but I was excited to see him there.
After I pushed Nave out to when we actually first hung out, I don't think it was all that long, it was a few days. I know during those few days, Nave and I conversed back and forth, and I asked her out a couple of those times during those days, and she said she had things going on, she wanted to, but she just had things going on. Until one day she actually invited me to campus ministry, so I went.
After service, he had invited me to go to a Super Bowl party with him, and I was like, alrighty, let's do it. So I accepted, and yeah.
After I went to the campus ministry, Nave realized hey, I'm actually extremely charming, awesome individual. And so then we started talking more, and then I had a Super Bowl party coming up at one of my friends' houses, and I got the dates mixed up because, to be honest, I don't really watch football. I just wanted to hang out with Nave, and I figured that was a good excuse because she would probably be comfortable around a group of people than just me, hey, random stranger that she's met twice. And so I invited her to a Super Bowl party.
The very first time we hung out, I ended up meeting his entire family. It was honestly kind of funny.
Come to find out, the Super Bowl party wasn't until the next weekend, and so somehow I got that off, so I found that out when I was halfway to picking up Nava, and so I told her last minute. So she got to spend our first date with my family.
After hanging out with everyone, I remember we had such a long conversation. It was a deep one. It was really good. I remember it was just like an effortless conversation. You know, there was like no awkward moments. It was very fun. It was just one of those conversations where you just lose track of time, and it was just good. It was really good. Thinking back now, I remember just laying in bed and being all smiles that night. And I would have never imagined what was to come.
After Nava and I had that date with basically my whole family, I realized Nava was a pretty special person because she just acted like she knew my entire family their entire lives. She held nothing back with her personality. She was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of really good conversations that night. Just deep conversations, fun, laughing. You don't meet a lot of people like that, and for me, it was just one of the most unique dates I've ever had in my life. So I went to bed that night just gleaming because I realized I found something special.
We couldn't be more grateful for all the different things we've had the opportunity to experience as a couple. I mean, just starting off the relationship, learning so many things about each other, and enjoying one another's company meant everything to us. Since beginning our relationship, we've had the privilege to travel to many places and events together, from factories of all sorts. You think we could play a huge game of hide and seek in here?
You'd never find me.
To meet and greets, family events, and family vacations. We've even had the opportunity to explore the Grand Canyon, Las Vegas, South Texas, California, Yosemite, the Golden Gate Bridge, and much, much more. And in between all those adventures, Cole took on the exciting task of teaching me all about farming. From driving equipment for the first time.
Hey, look who it is! This is Nava, not Ava. Nava.
Good. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it! I'm a farmer! To straight up driving the grain cart for an entire harvest season. For the first unload today, I think we did pretty good. To helping me change my oil for the first time, to getting the job done all on my own. Oh my gosh, I actually got it undone myself. I guess I'm getting stronger too. I remember the time Cole bought me my first dirt bike in hopes of me learning all about gear changes, and then throwing me in my first stick shift vehicle, and not to mention an actual semi. One of my favorite things he's taught me to this day is learning how to drive the skid loader, and then taking on grave digging duties like a pro. And I cannot forget to mention all the junkyard adventures we got to go on, due to all the side jobs and tasks we've taken on together. Sure, it may not have been your typical date, but I can honestly say that I had a blast and enjoyed every single second working side by side one another to make the farm and farmhouse look much more welcoming and clean. I can't stress it enough that there are so many adventures that Cole and I share as a couple. I mean, fishing and motorcycle rides, working together, starting and harvesting our garden, riding in machinery together, cooking together, going through storms together, celebrating fun occasions together, and simply just doing life with one another. I knew from the first time we hung out in his grandfather's house that this man was the man I wanted to be with for the rest of my life. I can't explain it. I just knew he was, as many people say, the one. And most importantly, he's my best friend, and someone I knew I would want to do life with forever. So that is why I said yes.